issues with my daughters. Got it resolved. Everyone's happy. So, Zach, mic check. Am I good there, buddy? Yep. Okay. Let's roll. So I'm gonna do CL last since I'm not trading to talk to 9:30. There's China news out, and that's what's causing the roll to the downside. And so good morning to everyone on YouTube. Starting late, but let me I'll post the link if anyone wants it. So I'm not going to try to catch up. I do think we're going to have a lot of opportunities today. We do need to be careful for trend day down with the news out of China. Okay. Post. And let's go just real quick before we get started. Where is this? And why isn't it coming up? There it is. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. I'm sharing my trade plan with you in hopes that it makes you a better trader. However, all the trades are on you. It's all your trading decision. Don't follow me blindly would be my suggestion. Instead, learn how I figure out what my trades are and learn to make them your own so that you don't need me at all would be ideal, right? So it takes time, and it's not a simple 1, 2, 3 method. It's not the London sunrise trade. It is just takes some time to learn the process, but it works very well. So past performance not indicative of future results, and you can lose your ass trading futures. I think that covers it. So I'm going to just make some quick adjustments. The zones below are accurate. Let me work through this here real quick. Bump, 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 bump. Now, this is high, Friday is low. Luckily, there's not a whole lot to do to this chart. Pretty much that whole thing is blue. And I got nothing else other than say, so the only reason I'm going to mark this off as a low, there's really nothing here. It's actually a poor low, and it's begging to be broken. If it gets to the downside here, just know that needs to be repaired, and over-under would do it there. But you're going to have to get back above the 7,400 to make it an effective U-turn. So it's a swing low, but it's not fantastic. I wouldn't be overly eager to just try to stick that there. There's an open gap down here, and for that reason, you have so what you have here is a swing low, an open settle price that's been untested, and a poor low back there at 513. If that gets broken and then we recapture back above, that could put us back towards the mid of this range. Okay, I don't have anything else to add on this chart beyond that. That's it. That was a pretty good resistance yesterday at the mid of the half gap for swing trades. But obviously just didn't want to roll over yesterday afternoon. It was strong. We'll see how they respond. Gap downs have been getting bought. So let's just see what they do this morning. That ends up producing the NQ chart looking like this, right? There's the 5-minute overnight. You can see we pushed right into the anomaly. There's no secrets about anomalies. That's straight out of Dalton's Mind Over Markets. And the zones end up looking like, I just happen to be pretty good at reading those. 74.15. If we get behind 7,300, let me address that really quick in case we melt. If we get behind 7,300, man, hold on a second here. I may not have enough days loaded. Let's do this really quick. And while that loads, we will do ES. Because that's going to take a minute. Let's see here real quick. Just burn through these. No. Color yellow. That flips to yellow. Okay, right behind this, see that little anomaly right there? White zone. I know that's weird. So the way I would actually do this, let me correct that. Let's inch this up. There we go. That right. And then again, this is just this week's swing low. It's just nothing more important to it than that. Just know that's where swing low is. It's a poor low. It needs to be fixed, hypothetically, right? Market does what it wants to do. And prior day's high, prior day's low. Poor low yesterday as well. And if we melt, we've got that covered all the way down to the swing. That would take us from 28.55, 2800, and then we have this anomaly behind here at 27.84 if it gets really ugly. But again, I'm cautious on calling any bear moves. So we actually ended up with ES chart finished first rather than NQ. And so that ends up looking like this. And let's see how that played out overnight. There we go. So we really haven't made it down into support yet. They just found responsive buying and they're stuck under the prior low. That's not a horrible chart yet. These are your two key areas for trading in. I don't think I have anything else to say about ES other than that. It's been relatively strong. I'm going to make the chart look like this. That covers an awful lot of pointage down to the swing low. If I need to pull more levels out, if we get down here, I will do so. There we go. File. Save as. I want to get back past this and into the waves as quickly as possible. 0522. Yes. Save. If you look on the Slack channel, guys, I just posted yes. Yes, for Wednesday. I believe, do we have Fed minutes today as well? I thought I saw it. Of course, I don't particularly care about most news, but yeah, FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock. So that's usually a no-go zone, or at least if you trade that area, know that it can be fast, it can be brutal, and it can be ugly. Your stops can get run, or it can be just easy as hell. But the possibility exists is the best thing to say about it. And I tend not to want to trade it. So if I put down my numbers before we get to that point, I will take a look. But that's my 2 cents. So about that. So that's posted up. I will post that up on StockTwits. And Twitter for those watching on YouTube. Yes, for Wednesday, Fed day. Okay, that's now posted. Let's go do finish out the NQ chart. 5 minutes over here. Where's my NQ chart? There we go. And there's our extended levels if we just decide to melt to all high. Holy hell. And let's see what's in between here, if anything. Oh, that's ugly. Look at that space underneath here. Wow. Let's hope we don't break this swing over here. That's important. Let's tag that. And I'll go take a closer look if we get down there. But other than that, that swing and that swing, both of them are important, right? Get underneath both of those, and look how many people you have trapped on top. That'd just be straight out sick and ugly, right? So let's just roll with that. That translates to this. Again, the anomaly still held. Inventory short overnight. So let me explain that both on ES and NQ. See this where we've rolled down and all the inventory is still short, right? If you don't get above the 50, this 50-60, and you don't get above the initial open balance, okay, that's where you get effective open drives lower. However, if everyone committed to the short down here because of the China news and you get over the first 5-minute print, expect to push at least back into the 50-60, which we've already attempted, and realize that 50-60 is also banging right up against yesterday's low, right? And in order to be bullish, right, bulls are going to want to see it over this swing. That's what you need to get a push to the upside. This actually is 74.61, 74.68. I anticipate it to be a difficult area to trade in, but they need it above to get the bull straight in terms of their setup, right? And I'm going to let the first at least 30 minutes go, I think, and just see what they do. I'll call the trade or the setup if I see it, and if it's perfect, I might take it. But I don't like trading when everyone else is trading, and that's exactly what's about to happen right now, is that everyone's going to try to position for this. So let's post up the levels. I think that covers almost all the levels we need up and down. Sure does. That's 300 almost worth of points. Let's just go with that. Edit. After BMP. File. Save as. JPEG. NQ0522. All I have to say about CLs is building a boatload of energy, and it's ready for a big vertical move. I've been saying that for a while, but it really is. Watch out if it starts trending. It can trend very hard. I'd be careful on the contra move if it makes an exaggerated move. Okay, I try to trade it with the trend if I could today, if it breaks one way or the other. Okay, and then we go over here. There we go. There we go. Thank you for Wednesday. Now let's go do CL really quick and get it the heck out of the way. That goes away. I mean, we're not moving very much for an open like we've had, are we? Oh, my computer's going slow as hell. Okay, so I do not know what's going on with this computer because it has enough memory. It should be able to remember all of time as much as memories I have loaded onto this thing. So let's get rid of this and do CL. Okay, we're obviously opening up down below, right? I wanted this short yesterday, and I could not freaking make it go. So, say la vie, what are you going to do? Let's see if they'll set us up. Let's see if they'll set us up into inventory numbers to catch a trend one way or the other, right? And we have done an over-under here on this anomaly now, right? So, at any rate, we'll see what happens. Donk, donk. Oh, you know what? That's still important because that was the swing low prior to this. Really? That is still correct. The point of control is right in this area. Prior day's high. Prior day's low. It's a good low, too. It had excess on both ends. It was just inside of balance. There's nothing else to talk about on this chart. All right, so you can see we're coming right up. This was Dalton's gap fill right here at 62.52. So I'd say there's resistance 62.52 to 62.60 is your resistance point. If you wanted to take a shot, I'd do 62.52 against 62.72. It's just a blind shot in the dark. That's a good place to get rejection. You would have expected buyers there at 62.52, and they got swept through in the overnight session. And then down here, this is the white zone. I mean, huge area of poorly auctioned. And then the swing low. I really don't have anything else to I'd want to hang my hat on from a pinpoint location. There's really nothing down underneath here either. So let's just see what she does. See if we can get set up. It's really, we've spent so much time in these two balance areas that we can trade through both of them pretty easily. So we'll look for intraday for clues, just like we did yesterday. Prior day's high, prior day's low. It needs to be adjusted a hair. There's not much to analyze when we keep doing the same damn thing over and over. There we go. And let's minimize that, and that translates into CL. Or view my CL 5-minute chart. There you are. So that's what it looks like on the 5 from the US session. You can see we just danced right around that, right? If you look at the 24 hours. Right in. See how they danced? They just couldn't establish behind. And they obviously pressed pretty hard, but that was all on the China news. So we'll see what we do with oil inventories, right? So let's suck this in. See how they try to hold Dalton's gap fill all night? Watch on that first press in, right there in Asia. See how they try to hold that swing low and Dalton's gap filled, and they slipped underneath, try to trap back in, failed. Backside tested, held the anomaly. Now we're back for the backside test of that area. And it was choppy as hell overnight in this area, by the way, which makes sense, too, that we have inventories at 9:30, right? So in case we have a big extension down, there's your areas up and down. That covers a lot of tickage. So if you will look on the Slack channel again, guys, close all this. Damn, I don't know why it's CLN. Oh, I see what's going on. Thank you. Thank you. I did screw it up. You're correct. Son of a gun. It is CLN. Am I wrong there? CLN 9, right? Right, Zach? I'm not off? Or is it my 5-minute chart that's off? I see what you're saying. No, we've rolled from M to N. I'm almost positive. I'm looking at the liquidity in the dome. It's better on the N. So, okay, good. We're good then. Let me find that chart again. Plus. Inventories at 9:30. Upload. Okay, let's go look at the waves real quick. Let's get out of oil here. Let's fix this chart. Okay, and why don't we start with the S to begin with? And we'll look at the big chart, and then we'll work our way down. Biggest push down overnight, right? In quite a while since over here, right? So, obviously, above 28.67, and guess what? Short squeeze city, this is coming in with the biggest push, right? Notice that we really haven't broken down with the quote news. That's the advantage of having that bigger range bar, even if we're not trading off of it, right? We're just in a range. It's not doing anything horrible. It's not a terrible gap down. That's why people are getting stuck who are shorting at the bottom, and people are getting stuck at buying on the top. And that emphasizes it perfectly. We've been doing that for a couple of weeks now. We're just in balance, right? And the market's just trying to figure out what it wants to do there. So nothing pops out at me there that I'm terribly interested in, right? If I go to that same chart, my CL chart right here. Here's my ES chart. Okay, we'll park this over here. Look at this. So this was untouched from yesterday, right? So look how that reversal came about, right? See how when there's news it doesn't backside test, guys. So this is important. If you're looking to get above your last push up, right? So see how it diverged there into the low, right? See how we came back down here and diverged. But if you're waiting to get above your last shift up and then for the backside test, so when we're in a non-news environment, we're not mega fast, you can wait for the backside test. When you're not in a news environment or the environment is uber volatile, the way we have to adjust. So I want to be very specific about this, okay? So we're trading off of news here, okay, off the China news in this area. And what I would normally say is, look, okay, there's my push down, there's my divergence, right? There's my flip. And here's my last little push down right here. But really, I'm looking at this and we're trapping back in, right? Shove down here, shove down here. But notice once we get above, see how we're just not backside testing. Yesterday, where I would have said is, look, I want my trades to come on the backside test of this, this, or this. And see how we're not getting it, at least yet? So those are still valid, particularly that push right there. That is still a valid trade location that I'm probably willing to take on a backside test. That's 62.20 against 62.10, right? But this is important. If the market's moving fast and off of news, you have to adjust your entry style. So all of y'all that I coach, I talk about this all the time. The methodology stays the same in terms of its core, but the entry rules have to change. If the market starts moving uber fast or uber volatile, you're not going to get the backside test at the bottom. Okay, so there's two things you have to decide if you're going to trade that. The backside test is the cheapest test you can get, right? Because it has the least amount of cost for the most amount of reward. So you can decide, that's what I trade, and if the market doesn't give it to me, c'est la vie. I have no problem with that. I think that's fine. Or you can be like me and go, man, the market's moving fast. It's not going to give me a backside test. Half. So this is how you do that. You end up with half here, or whatever you trade, some variation on this. Half on the close of this bar. Speed bar shift up. We already know that's a high odds trade after divergence anyways, right? Half here, right? That way, if it just takes off on you, you've got something in your hand, right? Or you go, I'm taking full boat here, and I'm just doubling my stop to 20 cents, right? That's fine as well if you can handle that, okay? That's the alternative. Where day traders get thrown off is they look at that trade and they go, well, I learned to take the backside test. That's what I'm going to do. And then they go through long periods where they don't get the backside test, right? Or vice versa. I learned to buy it here, and then it constantly comes back and backside tests me over here, and I get stopped, right? My suggestion would be you have a trade plan for both setups. And if this is a one-day wonder, no problem. We've been getting a boatload of backside tests. It's been a pretty easy trade, right? But if you don't get the backside test on those bars, sooner or later, you're going to want to pay up. I would do half and half. That way your stop ends up being about 15 cents instead of 20, and you can use a little bit more leverage. That would be or at least I can, right? That would be my strategy there. In terms of the waves, this is the last push down and the biggest push down. I can get confirmation from looking at that by going like this and going, wow, that was a pretty damn big push down. I can look all the way back to Friday, and that was the last time I had an equal push to it, right? So the question becomes, what happens when I get a big push like that at the bottom? What does it do? Well, you can see an example here. When we get above, it pushes. You can see this example back over here, right? This push right here ends about right here. And when we get above it the first time, they backside test into it. When we get above the second time, causes this huge spring to the upside, okay? And this is generally what I'm looking for over those waves. So I have a pretty easy marker now on CL. Top of the wave, bottom of the wave, mid of the wave. Notice how we're stopping at the mid of the wave, right? That is my marker now. Over that, 62.63. If after inventory I'm trading above 62.63, I will be looking long. I'm looking for long setups to press, scalps to scalp until this picture changes. Underneath this wave, and then importantly, right, big pushes up off the bottom. If I get underneath these guys, I'm actually going to count this whole thing as one damn big wave, right? So today, if I'm trading underneath here, and I can get a backside test or whatever setup I end up identifying, right? This bottom part specifically becomes very important, okay? That right there. Underneath here, close underneath. I have my biggest wave down. I'm underneath my 2 pushes up. Someone made a pretty enormous effort to push up here. We don't have any divergence yet, right? And my guess is they're just going to hang it up here till 9:30. But if I can get underneath that 62.03, I want to be freaking short. Just telling you. If that happens, I want to be short unless they stop me or pop it back above again. But that's a pretty big deal there. That combination right there, they should really, if they can't get above this wave, they're screwed anyways. And as I said, you can usually take the 50 in if it just doesn't close behind the 62. You can often get a roll to the downside. You're obviously going to get interference because of the oil inventory numbers that are coming up, right? So I'll just wait till afterwards. I don't trade it before on the oil inventory day anyway. So that's that. Let's scoot this over. I guess we just leave this up. So we'll go back to ES here real quick. I guess I'm going to move this like this. I think the majority of people are trading ES and NQ. Let me reset this chart. So, again, divergence. We didn't have a speed bar shift up. Again, you should be referencing the critical areas off the 5-minute. So let's go draw this out. First, let's take a big picture look. Here's our biggest pushes off the top. You can see once we got underneath, they eventually rolled it down. So now, here's my biggest push up clearly for the last 24 hours. Yeah, I'm going to say biggest push last 24 hours. Couldn't make it past the swing off to the left, nor could we make it past our prior swing lows, right, which is right there. You're obviously pushing back in, right? Here's our push down. Goes like so. So that means this wave goes like this. Here to here. Here's the mid. Here's my last shift up, right? So same game plan if it were me, right? Close underneath, right? So I want a point of control underneath this bar specifically. That bar right there, I want a down bar with a point of control underneath, which we're about to get. What would I do? I'd lay in right here for the short, and I'd stop 2 ticks above it. It ends up being about a 3-point stop if I get it right. Let's see. Assuming we close below with a point of control underneath, it would be 28.5475 or a 57.25 stop. Okay, and that's about to print. So I will attempt that. I need to see if we have econ at the top of the hour. 1 second. We have FOMC member Williams speaks at 9 a.m. right at the top of the hour. No other econ bet. So I'd still be willing to take a shot at that now that we've closed underneath, right? So this is my last shift up right here. I'm going to lay in at 54.75. I'll attempt it, right? Again, it's the first half hour. Stops are higher in this time frame. I'm going to end up with 55.75, 56. Remember my stop. I got 55.75. I'm actually going to add more contracts if they'll let me take them because my stop is 57.25. That's my standard stop. So I'm going to have less than 2 points of stop on this. And that may be a quick trip. Remember, first half hour, stops happen more often, right? So 57.25. And that's effectively less than a 2-point stop. It's 1.5, I think, actually. So if they take me, they take me, and that's part of the risk of trading in the first half hour, and no big deal. That when those win, when they push, right, They push very, very hard. So I know the Fed speaker's coming up and they may push up into them. I'm going to stay with that trade and let it push me down and see if I can't break the bottom of this wave here now and get a push to the downside. Okay, so stops in place, entries there, stops 57.25. That's a tiny stop on ES. I'm willing to take that all day long. Okay, so that's this. This is oil. I don't have anything there yet on oil. I imagine they're going to hang it up. Let me go take a gander at NQ. Where the hell is my NQ chart? 15 range. So you have to also decide whether you want to scale 2 points, right? If you want to scale 2, and then use that to cover your entire risk of your trade, right? You can do that, right? Or whether you want to try and press the trade. The trade stop is so small, I'm going to try and press that. Actually, not take the 2-point scale. What I'm saying is I'm willing to eat the stop, okay? Fed person's coming up, I may get run over, right? But I'm willing to eat the stop on that. So I'm not scaling. I'm going to try to press it. You need to execute the trade the way that fits for you. I do not know where the hell my that's ES 3 range chart. I don't need that. CL5. This is so frustrating that I cannot find. Oop. And it looks like they're going to stop me on that. Of course, it's so tight. How the hell can I possibly tell, right? Where the hell did NQ go? Ah, I know. There we are. Okay. So let's go through NQ really quick. It's on the 5 range bar. I'm trading. Okay. Clearly, shift up, shift up, shift up. We've closed behind the last shift up. That's your entry right there if you want to short on it. This was if you look, those are the lines from yesterday. I didn't change them, right? So see how we handled that through the Asian session? That was your resistance. That was your support. And it bounced all the way through there all night long, right? This is the news that drove us lower. As we came into the lows, right? Remember, same story here on NQ. Here's my last shove down. See when we got above right here? Backside test. Stop goes right underneath here. See how, in this case, we did get the backside test. Stopped on the ES, which is totally fine with me. I'll take that trade again. Probably going to get hung up here in the next 9 minutes as we head into the Fed speaker. That trade setup right there, see how I didn't hit on ES, but it did tag on NQ? This was the close above, right? This is my last shift down. There's my backside test. There's my freebie ride. That was actually worth 50 points if you're around at 7:30 to take it, right? And again, I would take that ES trade all day long, and I would press it all day long without tight to stop and the possibility of rolling to the downside, right? Yeah, I take that trade all day long. So that's my 2 cents. And again, if I get underneath now so let's go and redraw this chart, right? Divergence as we're pushing up into the high, right? Here's my last big wave up, right? First question I have is, how big a wave up is it? Well, it's actually pretty damn big, and it didn't get back to that swing high at 5:30 in the morning, right? So what's my next question? So top of wave, bottom of wave, mid of wave. Okay, clearly 1, 2, 3, pretty big pushes up. Guess where I want to be short? Underneath 74.30, I'm willing to press again. I'm going to try to find by hook or crook a way to be short NQ underneath those levels if it gives it to me, right? Now, what's the converse and what's set up here? Look how we set up this morning. Biggest push at the bottom, right? So even if you didn't get this trade right here, right? Here was your biggest push down. That wave was odd because of news, but it goes basically from here to here. Here's your on top of the first close above, first close above, but it was only by a tick. First close above by more than a tick. Backside test, right? It's your backside test was all the way over here of your last push down. You get above. Once you get this on this trade, you want to take your hands away and go, maybe we push. That's how you're getting this setup right here. This is how you're bagging your $1,000 contract trades, right? Is you've picked it off on the bottom. You've gotten a perfect backside test. It's above the mid of this wave, right? It's pretty easy to measure. Everyone who sold here is trapped, and they're trapped the minute we get up to the mid of the wave. You can see they put this fractal shift combo. They put a lot of effort here at the bottom. You suck all the retail guys in, bam, above, and we're just going to guide, and now they're all forced in. Now if we get underneath here, the question becomes, how badly do these guys need to cover right here? That's the question, and we'll just have to see, right? So there is no entry, right? We have 5 minutes until the Fed speaker comes up. We have clear divergence, at least locally here, right? Notice that we don't have a shift down. When you see this like this, and you get a shift down, it has a very high odds of actually breaking to the downside. You just got to let it set up. So let me give you an example of that. C over, no, didn't give it. Let me find it. Oh, damn, now that I want it, I can't get it. Like this right here when we're diverging off the top. You get that shift down. The stop, all you have to do is figure out whether you can afford the stop or not, right? That's all you're doing. But that right there, and that was kind of weak. It wasn't a speed bar shift. But when you get those divergences like this, see this right here? And then you get that fractal shift, speed bar shift, any of that, you get gorgeous rolls to the downside when that occurs. And same thing on the long side. See when we get down here? See when we get down here and we've already turned, the price is consolidating sideways. So notice this is the first shift, but we're still pushing down, but now it's pushing up. And you get that shift up. That is a high odds trade. And there's multiple ways to enter it. You can enter it here. You can attempt the backside test here, which you did not get, right? Those are your two entries. And then if you take this, you just put your stop behind the speed bar fractal, and you let it push you. So that's what I'm hunting today. Again, NQ will be on another screen. I'll call it as I see it, and we'll focus on ES and CL. And I want to point something out. You can call that ES a failed trade, right? But what if the thesis was, hey, the China news is actually bad, which I don't know if it is or isn't because I don't give a shit one way or the other, right? But let's say the China news was actually bad. I risked what? 1 3/4 points, I think, in exchange for getting possibly a 10 or 15 point roll or more to the downside, right? I'll take that all day long. 1 3/4. Our ES wins yesterday were 5, 10, and potentially I think 15 if you let your trailers really run, right? 1.5 against 15 points. That's a good win, right? But that's why I'm going to push everyone in the room again and again. When we get great setups, push your trailers, okay? So your P&L pushes, and then the small little stops are just that, small little stops, and not complete defeats of your process and your thinking method, okay? So that's all I have to say about that. The zones are posted on ES and NQ. Let me make sure I just have easy access to my 5-minute charts. I'm not doing anything with CL until, so actually since I'm not doing anything with CL, let's switch gears. We'll put NQ over here. I'll keep my eye on CL till after the number. And I am most definitely skipping the first 15 minutes, if not the first 30 minutes today of CL. And let's see, Russell's still stuck. CL's pushing, that's fine. And ES is pushing probably right into the Fed speaker. And ES is pushing up into the anomaly here. So you'll see that it's a backside test. This whole area is resistance. It's valid resistance too. So, and it is trapped back into yesterday's low. That anomaly is valid. You want to look for resistance up in this area. Okay, making lower lows and lower highs. And we did not break the swing to the left, right, from 1:30 in the morning. So we're still trapped in balance from a 24-hour perspective, right? And seal, in my eyes, has room to 63.09. Just FYI. I know this little area, the 62.52 to 62.60 is resistance. This area, I'm not going to short it in front of the inventory numbers. So just going to have to do what it does. They've pushed. Fed speaker starts right now, right? So here's my last shift up. So if I roll down again, right? So here's, you can tell it's light when we're not just getting any shifts at the top, right? There's your next wave up. It's almost the same as the last wave up. So they're floating over one another. You know, we hate that because it doesn't give us clear entries. Let's see what it does. One over the other, mid of the wave, assuming we printed a negative delta there. It's going to be this. I may have to redraw that. 28.57, right inside the wave, underneath the shift. If we close down here again, I will attempt this bar yet again, right, for the trade to the downside. I like tight stops on ES where I can get bigger extensions. And then, again, are we getting divergence on top is always the question I'm asking. And you can see here's the high rotation on the MACD. And I'm not a MACD expert, but we are getting divergence in that high. So a shift down here, right, if you're willing to pay the stop at 28.62, often will win. You have to be willing to pay the stop. And if you don't have the read on it, my suggestion is then don't. Wait till it gets underneath the wave. It's much easier once it's underneath, right? So let's see what it does. Telling you, with divergence, speed bar shift down or any variation on shift down often pays, and I probably will attempt that. I'd put the stop 1 point behind this swing, right? So your risk is going to end up being 62.75 against a 58.50. So it's going to be 4 points to stop. Size correctly, try for half back, or just wait and go, I want to see it actually on the breakdown, which is where the easier part comes, right? The only reason you're screwing with this is if you think we're going to roll lower, right? And again, we didn't get the shift lower, so there's nothing to do here. But the only reason you're screwing with this up here is because you think we can get the shift lower, right? Let's see if anything pops up on NQ. Divergence, not even a cross back up at the high. I'm still going to try and short this bar right here. But what I'm going to do instead is if I short underneath this bar, I'm actually going to put my stop right there. I'm going to adjust the size down a little bit and move my stop to 74.42.75. So I need to get underneath this, right? And I'm going to put a limit, 34.50, right? And I'm going to stop 34.50. My stop is going to be 42.75, okay, if it gets underneath here. I may try a shift down if I get it up here, but that's where I really want to press the trade for an opportunity to come back and retest these lows down there. That's my setup right now. Any questions in the room, guys? Take it easy. All of our setups, we had a lot of great trades yesterday after 10 a.m., right? We really did. You didn't have to press the early trade. Well, actually, I take it back. The big push up, you had to press in the first hour. I take it back. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 9:28 a.m.
Setting the alarm. Okay, I set an alarm for 9:28.
That blue speed bar indicates a hard push on both NQ and ES right at the top. If they can't get back above that, or they get underneath it, that's almost as good as a shift up with a trap, right? So if they close underneath that, your other option is a 28, whatever this closes underneath this level, with a stop 1 point above that 28, 60, 75. It's indicative of a hard press to the upside that fails. And I will probably fish that on smaller size. Shift down right off the top. Not quite divergence there, but still want to see it trap underneath these. Shift up, forming on NQ. Again, remember you have Fed speaker actually speaking, so they're hanging on what he's saying. That'll be interesting. I'd really love this shift up right here, followed by an immediate red bar for an attempt to short that on NQ. Uber aggressive trade, but if you want to try and get this so that it can't break this high on the speed bar right here at 62.75. So I'm just pointing it out because it does set up nice swings when it can't break this. I see how they just shift up and they failed on that. That's a big deal. So I'm actually going to attempt 28.60 against 28.62.75. Again, this is the most aggressive of my trading, right? I'm going to short 28.60. Actually, I have 60.25, 60.50, right? Against 28.62.75. And I'm filled on that. Okay. And I am short 74.45 against the high on NQ. Again, it may be a quick trip, guys. There's a Fed speaker, but I'm in on that. Stop goes 1 point above that 55. Let's just call it 55.25. And I am in 74.46.75. This is my most speculative trade that I have, right? I'm not underneath the wave. They can reverse it on me, okay? So you need to know when you're taking that trade, it's not if the trade works, oh, I should have taken it, or if the trade fails, oh, I shouldn't have taken it, right? I'm coming out the back of a series of really big trades. I have room to work, which lets me squeak into the most speculative area of my trades. The best trades come when you get underneath the last shift up. Actually, you could see how we don't have a point of control underneath, but if we get a point of control underneath and you target that bar, that 74.47 with a stop at 74.53 and I'd just move it behind that anomaly if I were you on that. That's your best setup. But first you need the point of control underneath this bar, and you haven't achieved that yet. The risk is you won't get the backside test. So I'm short 74.46.75, short 28.60.75. They're relatively tight stops. Like it's 2 points on ES and it's 9 points on NQ. I'll take that all day long. And we don't have the cross. We don't have clear divergence or anything else. We have some divergence, right? And they've tried to push at the high. And we've already had the Fed speaker, so I'm hoping that sticks. And I have a fractal with a purple bar. The only thing I don't have is the shift down. That would have made that pretty much perfect. And if I can get the point of control underneath that shift up, probably very good to go on that trade at that point. All you have to decide is whether you're willing to pay the stop and still take your highest odds trades when they set up, which we have not had that happen yet. And if we trend up or grind up all day, I will get stopped. There's no question about it. And once again here, I will not take a small scale on ES. I'm either going to get paid or I'm going to get stopped. That's how I'm handling it, right? Doesn't mean it's how you have to handle it. Same thing on this NQ. I'm taking the 9-point stop, or I'm getting paid on it. And getting paid for me means I'm going to get underneath this wave right here, right? Which is also the mid of this wave right here. So I'm shooting for getting underneath 74.31, right? And then press it to the downside. So you now have, I believe, 2 points. You now have 2 points if you want to take a scale on ES. I don't. Thank you. 28.61 is the biggest push down, bottom of the biggest push down in Globex. Again, I have not scaled and I'm not scaling on this. I'm going to try to push this trade. I could end up in tears. That's why I'm giving you the alternative covers. You got 2 points. You have 2 points of risk on ES. You can take it off and pay for the trade, right? And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I may end up going, that was stupid. And it wouldn't be the first time, by the way, I get this set up. Then I come and set a high by exactly another point and then flush it. Oh, wow. And you got the flip on the diff as well here, but you got it early. See that? It flipped there. That's all good. You're coming up on 3 points on ES. Again, no scale for me. And we go. Let's break that last wave. This is going to serve as your resistance point now, right here at this bar. Little line on it. That's your resistance point. This guy, your resistance buff. See that those blue bars represent trying to flip on the deltas and press. Those guys got stuck. It took a lot of effort to produce those bars, right? So I'm going to stand back and let them see if they can pay me big now. Okay. So you're now underneath. See the point of control got underneath. And now what you really want, right, what we'd be begging for is a backside test of that bar. But the environment changed a little bit, right? And so now they're just falling away. So my hope is, I'll tell you, I'm pressing for us to get underneath that wave and roll back and test the lows, right? Which means potentially, I don't know if that's too bearish, right? But that's the only support below on ES is the ES support is 28.46 below, right? That's a full 10 points lower than where we are. And we're coming out of the trade is not insane. We're coming out of this anomaly, right? If I can break the 56 quarter, get a retest of this and break, 44.75 or even 40 is feasible to the downside if a couple things have to happen. We have to obviously break this trend line since 7:20 in the morning, right? And I don't want a reversal signal, so I'm going to keep watching my waves, right? And I'll manage it as long as I can manage it. So that being said, you don't have to trade that way. If you took the 55 on NQ, right, you are now pressing, 46.75. You're pressing down to 40, and I think you've pressed down as low as 35, if I'm correct, right? And what we're working to get underneath now on NQ is that right there, which is effectively is the same as the one to the left. We need to get underneath the 74.35 to make this trade effective. I can still get stopped. This is still your ideal entry trade location, is this bar right here. And a stop, put my stop right behind this fractal at 74.55 or 74.56, right? So at any rate, I'll stay with it because, oops, someone said something, stopped. Fuck, that sucked. Stopped. News. That sucks. There's the risk of trading on days like today. That was bullshit, and I'm pretty sure I'm run on some of that. Wow. So, c'est la vie. So much for me being brilliant, right? What utter bullshit is that? What did Trump pass gas? I mean, what the hell? Again, I will attempt. Okay, so if you're trading right now that you know this is going on, you're trading during news, right? I just got stopped on news. There's no question about it. We just jumped on this roll down from 36 to 72, right? So there's actually an intraday gap on this thing right here. If you're trading right now, you're all right with getting stopped. I just got stopped on ES and NQ, and so I'm going to take a pause for 10 minutes. That's all I'm going to do, and let the next setup come, right? And hence the virtue of scaling when you're up on a trade. So wasn't a horrible stop. I think I got 2 on ES and 9 on NQ, and I probably got slipped a little bit on NQ. So now I just start over again the process. And yeah, it's upsetting to get stopped on news. Big finger flipped, whatever that was. Everyone still cool? Everyone all right? When you take the most aggressive trades, right, like I just did, right, and you get clipped on news, 2 things are important. Okay, A, you go, it's news. You can predict it. Shit, it wouldn't be trading, it'd be taking money. We call taking money instead of trading, right? Number 2, I took the most speculative entry in my list, right up here, which is fine. Nothing's wrong with that too. I've gotten paid very well on that before, right? But it is important. I do feel offended when they take my money like that, okay? But you take a pause to make sure you don't go on tilt. My immediate response is to try to short that. And it's usually the wrong response. I'll just wait. I'll usually get another setup. Actually, I'll restate that. I know I'll get another setup, right? And I had the opportunity to scale to no risk trade on both of those. And I chose not to. William said there's no need to raise rates, hence the danger of trading during a Fed speaker talking. There you go. This is your target right there. If you get underneath this bar, that's your reset. Those guys are a bunch of jokers if there ever were. Here's your entry to your last shift up if you think you can sustain it underneath that. And I really want to freaking short that against 64.50. All right, top of the shift up plus a point. That's 63.50 plus a point. Fractal shift down, in divergence, right? So I am going to take that 61 against 64.50. That's a 3-point stop. And I'm already in on that, just FYI. So I took this, right? Here's my shift down. Here's my close underneath, and I just guessed. So you can still backside test that, right? So I still think 61. If you want to get it perfect, your entry is this, but it's news. We'll probably fall away from it. It wasn't much of a punch either. So the perfect entry is 62 against 64.50. I took 61. And again, right, the stops can start to add up if you're getting chopped on news. And I'm taking the most aggressive entries. Why? So I say this for the guys in the room. I'm not waiting to get underneath the waves, right? I'm trying to pick this thing off at the top. So I got to decide how much capital I'm going to contribute and still take my highest odds setup, right? If I just want to lay back. In this case on ES, pretty confident in what I want to do, right? So now, if this bar closes underneath here, I want to, so see how we closed underneath this bar right here? But it's news. So see how it wiggled right up above it? But now we can reset. I can actually take this right here, right where we are at 75.25, put my stop at 58.50, right? So I'll attempt that one more time. If they're going to run it on that news, I'm going to get royally screwed on this. So I'm taking 52s as best I can, 52.50, 52 quarter, and I want to put my stop at 58.50. We'll just call it 59, 7 points. Okay, so I'm 61 against 64.50, and I'm 52s against 59. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's not revenge trading. I'm okay with that. Let's just see what happens. And then CL's up in 10 minutes, guys, which is really what I'm interested in. CL's begging for a massive move. If you don't like any of these trades, just wait. It's news heavy day, right? I promise you I'm not going to bury myself today. These are relatively small stops on NQ and on ES, right? Versus 4 or 5 points ES, 10 points, 20 points, 15 points on NQ. They're survivable stops where you can load smaller size, or you can not trade the news environment, right? But I'm pretty okay here. If he said they weren't going to raise interest rates and that was our pop, I'm actually pretty comfortable here. I just got stopped on the news. I'll go deal. And that happens. That's okay. But I have some digging to do here. And what you're going to see later today is if we end up getting underneath this wave, that's going to end up being the easier trade, right? Same thing over here. We get underneath this. So this is the last wave up right here. It's a reasonable size. This is the last little push on top. See how we're just closing underneath. And so you just don't want it really back above that wave. If you can avoid it, that's where our stop is anyways, right? That was the last little push. It was kind of a whimper. This went up on almost no delta. See that? So I will press my luck on this again. So look at the choice I'm making again. I'm pressing by choice on this trade. Both of these trades, I am pressing these trades, right? Meaning I am foregoing P&L that's otherwise there and easy for me to grab, right? And what am I foregoing it for? Because I think we can press down over here. So, and the interesting thing is that they aren't going to raise interest rates. Have you just taken away all the interest in the Fed minutes? I don't know. I'll tell you this, the PA sucks so far. I guess if I scalped out of it, I'd be pretty happy. So I'll take that back. Again, I have not scaled. I'll take the stops. Then I'll pause and wait for my CL setup if I get stopped on the trades. It's like I get stopped. 59 is the stop on NQ. Pretty damn close to my stop. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. It was trade stuff. So, and of course, if everyone decides the China trade's going to go through, I'm going to get stopped on this, and the whole day is going to be like, well, okay, that's shit. So, nonetheless, I will take a pause if this stops, and it sure looks like I'm going to get stopped on NQ, right? And my next setup will come underneath a wave. Okay, I don't want to keep taking stops. I gave it a go twice. That's sufficient. Stopped on NQ. Yes, still alive. Wow, that is some bullshit, isn't it? Damn. Almost to the tick. And it looks like my yes stop's going to get tagged. So next trade will come underneath a wave, right? No more. I took my 2 shots at aggressive trades. They didn't work. Assuming I get tagged on the 64.50, which seems almost inevitable at this point. And the liquidity's gotten pretty thin, by the way. I'm seeing pretty small size at times on the bid and ask of ES and NQ definitely. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Zach, for the feedback. I have a little bit of a hole to dig out of, guys. Not terrible. I'm obviously not stopped on the day, or you'd hear me cursing. So, but the next trade has to come underneath the wave or over or on long side setup. So, hit the pause button on NQ for about 30 minutes at least. Let's get through the oil, see if we can get a setup there, and I'll work from there. Still alive on ES. And again, the important part there is I was pressing for rolls back down, right? Off the highs, the most speculative of entries, right? So I'm still going to take my highest odd setups. That's where I make that's my bread and butter, right? And the thing is, don't take the speculative trade if you can't take the bread and butter trade. If it keeps you from taking the bread and butter trade, you just have to build your account so you can take both. But we're pretty much mirror imaging that move down at this point. We've recouped the whole thing on NQ, and ES is not far from doing the same. Pretty much back to 5:40 in the morning area. And just so for those who aren't familiar with me, I don't move my stops once I commit to the trade. 2 minutes till inventories. I don't move my stops. That's just part of the deal, how it works. Yeah, without news, I would have rolled over. I'm not upset about it, actually, Bill. Those are good setups. They pay very nicely most of the time. So, shoulder shrug. It's Fed day. I chose to trade on Fed day. I know I have a higher loss rate on those days. And it's oil inventories. Just like if I take an oil inventory trade and it stops me on an otherwise good setup, I'm going to go, it's oil inventory day. I could choose not to trade today and skip it, but I'm not. I'm just saying I'm going to trade it. So I'll wait and see what happens. Pretty unimpressive presses based on quote news, whatever that is. I'm not exactly impressed, but it is trend day up effectively from U.S. session. Since we've hit the low at 7:30, pretty much trend up. with some volatility, with a little bit of whipsaw. There's oil. Bam, slammed. Here, I'll throw it up here. Straight into the anomaly and bounced super duper fast on the oil, guys. That was all. That was the whole move right there. We were just right here. That's 9:30. From 34 down to 62.10, back to 36 in seconds. So this is still the critical area, in my humble opinion. So now I'll switch NQ off, and I'll put CL over here, NES, NQ. You've treated me like a redheaded stepchild today. Not appreciated. But I treated you like a redheaded stepchild yesterday, so I guess fair is fair. Looking for a shift up. And then to get underneath it, and then get underneath those waves. No delta on this at all. We're all just fidgeting into what's generally resistance on top. Still short ES, no stop there, just the stops only occurred on NQ. That's almost break even if you need out of the trade, right? And the 3.5 point stop will kill you. There's your opportunity. I'm going to stay with the trade or it's going to stop me. That's just how I do it. There's my shift up. In my 15 range. Here's the 15 range so you can see what's going on. You can see we're underneath all those levels of support, right? See that? So let's see what it sets up. It's building support down here. You're going to have to break underneath these two guys right here. That's up the 15 range. And this is your last shift up over here. See how we got just over it when it's freaking news? See that? That is usually golden. See how they couldn't get the point of control above that bar? They tried. They stopped everyone. And they ran it right back down. So my guess is that's still going to serve as that 54.68 is going to serve as resistance still, is my guess. I will on a attempt, right? If I get underneath this, I'm going to target this bar for a short if I get a point of control underneath it for a backside test. Again, it's oil inventories. It may just fall apart, right? There's no push here. You're still working off this wave, right? We need the point of control to shift down, please. Where did the point of control go there? Is it underneath? Son of a gun. Not yet. Not there yet. Now this bar and this bar. So I will attempt, if I get a point of control underneath here, I'll attempt to 60. The trade will change a little bit. I will attempt to short 62.25. Actually, I'll tell you right now, I'll put that in 62.25 against the 62.36. I'm already there. Limit 62.25 against 62.36, 11-cent stop. right? It's oil inventories, and it's less than 5 minutes after oil inventories. I'm no filled so far. I'm 2 cents in front of this right here, and your stop. Actually, I'll take it back. It's got to be 38 cents. So you need to adjust it. It's a little bit more. It's 12-cent stop. And I'm hoping to get filled. One more tick, please. No fill. Come on. Son of a gun. Press back up. I'll stay there. I'll take it. I'll let him come back up for me if I can get it. Again, oil inventories 5 minutes after, right? Need 4 more pennies on the ask. Come on. I really want that fill. On the ES trade, guys, you're now up 2 points at 59 on the bid if you need to take a scale. Again, I'm not. That's my call, right? I'm not taking the scale. I'm intending to push that trade, okay? So if I get stopped, I'm giving up 2 points. It's in the bag, right? No fill so far. Still need to get underneath this wave, and that's right here. Need it under 28.56 to get anything going. That's where the bigger release will come from. I'm still open on CL if they'll give it to me. The flip side is that's the biggest push since after inventory. So my assumption would be if we get above this right here, that we will push hard, and I'll flip and look for the long if that's the case. This bar right here. So the stop is essentially where we flip over for potential long. And son of a gun, no backside test. Damn, that sucks. We were within a penny of that. You now have 3 points. CL's just falling away. No fill. Pulling the CL trade. No filled. That was an easy setup. You're now into 4 points on ES. And I'm staying with the trade. Again, I'm not covering this. I'm actually looking for 10 or 15 points. The downside. For the whole boat. So that's 4 points. I'm not taking on the trade. I'm not going risk-free. I'm telling you, I'm pressing the trade. You got to know that, because if you need to cover that trade, right, that trade right there puts me up on the whole day. It covers up all the stops, everything. And I'm not taking it, right? Why am I not taking it? I'm now about to press underneath my last big push up, right? And I'm looking for an extension down to retest my lows down here at 48, where I'll scale, take my first scale back on the retest of this area. And then I'm looking for and I'm looking for 44 to 42, then trailers into 40, 39, where I'm looking to flip. Okay? Everyone clear? So if you're in it, you got to manage it and scale it correctly. And you got to know which one you're shooting for, because it can still stop me, right? It wouldn't be the first time. It's Fed day. Everyone cool with that? I do believe I can push that all the way down. Damn, that was a nice trade on CL. I wish I maybe needed to be more aggressive on that fill. But we had the location exactly right. And I'll be right back when I refill my coffee, guys. Still pressing. 2854 is what you got to get underneath. Bigger, larger and larger picture, right? You squeeze underneath this wave, all these buyers are trapped. And you can say, see ya. Got to do it first. And you also got to acknowledge it may not be able to do it because of the earnings. That was a 50-cent trade on freaking CL. That really sucks. By a penny. Fuck, I wasn't aggressive enough on that. This is a mid of that prior wave is what they're working on. And approximately the mid. See how the two mids are balanced right on top of each other? Right? So it's basically this whole area right here. Is why they're trying to hold that from here to here. That's why that's acting as support. Held it here, trying to hold it here. But I'm pretty sure if I get underneath this, this goes. So that's what I'm betting on. Now let's see if they set us up. What we want to look for is this starts trending, is to get a sideways consolidation, a shift up, get underneath the shift up, and then backside test it for continuation to the downside. Or a retest of this 6203 area right here. One of the two. If you are a day trader and you cannot trade out of being down, you are at a significant disadvantage. Okay? You have to be able to look and go, I'm down on the day and I'm still going to take my setups. All right? It can't be, I can only be perfect or I'm going to do nothing kind of deal. All right? You got to be able to take it out from being down and work it around to being up. Because sometimes you're going to hit. All those trades I took were all good setups. Right? Sometimes you just get smacked. And if you're pushing for a swing, know that it can come back against you. Like I'm doing right now, I'm pushing for a swing. I'm pretty loaded on that ES. It's hard not to punch the button on that. That's a pretty damn good setup, I think. But we really have a good opportunity to trap all those buyers up above and roll underneath them. Bill, if I'm delusional, will you send me a message going, you're smoking crack? I think I'm all right on this. That CL trade was great. That's really just hurts to miss that. That's all right. Mind open. We'll see. Maybe we take him the other way. Got it, Bill. No problem. I'll close everyone's down. I'll hit the button, guys. Wow. That's going to be a 100-tick trade on that CL trade that I didn't get. Urgh. That was golden. Okay, so see this shift up and a consolidation right here? If we're going to end up with a trend day down, and remember, we're coming out of balance, right? So see that shift up? If I can get underneath and I can backside test that and keep my stop right on that bar, that's where I'll attempt, right? No divergence here. We're overextended, but this may just come back to reload, back to the 0 line, where I'll look for another setup, right? That hurts to miss the CL trade. That was 67, 70, 30, 55, almost 60 cents straight. So this fractal shift is great when you have divergence here, meaning it's looking, the bar looks like this and we push to a new low like this. That fractal shift is fantastic. Even if it stops once, it's worth taking it twice because it pays very, very well. So see down here, see this speed bar shift, but no divergence, right? Same story here. If we get underneath that, that's now underneath the mid of this wave. Just like they're holding it here, this area will now become resistance if we get underneath. And again, by not taking my P&L off the table on this thing, I risk having it balance and come back up against me into the Fed. That's part of the deal. Can't have it both ways. You can't hit the home run and not be willing to take the shot at the home run. Like, decide which one you're doing and hit and go, or leave it. I'm leaving it. So they're trying to push back in where they were consolidating before at that 59, and I hope they hold it underneath. Really like another shift up here. I've got nothing to lean on here to take this trade. The white zone is the clear target, or the anomaly up above. Back to 62.19 or 61.52.37 is the downside target on that 5. Right? And the over-under on this is the big setup, right? Gets below, gets back above, backside test, push. There is, but you have to wait till you actually get the cross on that, because otherwise these can just keep unwinding. Zach, that's the problem with that. So when you look, what you want for it is to cross. Let's see if we can find an example. So when you go, hey, isn't there divergence relative to? So there's obviously all kinds of divergence. But see this right here? Now you've crossed, and you're still consolidating at the low. And now you can go, okay, shift up. I'll take that for the push. But until it crosses itself over here, that's the only time I pay attention to that cross. Until it crosses, you don't know that it actually has divergence, because all it has to do is unwind itself, right, and continue pushing lower. So what you want is this 730 setup where it crosses, starts pushing up, and price stays flat. Then you take the first shift up and go with it, which would have been this right here. And now you're already pushing both from a bigger picture divergence and a divergence within that area specifically. Make sense? And the pain in the ass about that is you'll look at it and go, oh, that's my shift up. That's my cross, right? And if it goes, you're going to go, I knew I should have taken it. And that's not the point. The point is, when is the setup the best for a high odds win? And you have to wait for that cross and hope that it consolidates at the bottom after the cross and starts to diverge with it here in order to make that work. And then also when you look at the 5-minute chart, you have no anomalies to help you out in this area, right? So you're essentially going to have to say they're going to pick it off in the middle of outer space. I'd rather wait for that. If I was going to run that process, that's what I would rather wait for. Guys, this may come all the way back against me on ES. I may just be on the wrong day to try to press a trade. Okay? I don't know what the news is or news isn't, because I don't care. It may just be a choppy day. I may add it up to a don't trade on the Fed, but I've done it, and I'll stick with it. Thank you, pressing all the way back up. So see how this bar right here didn't get the shift last time? See how this is your last shift up before we broke away and we never backside tested it? So if you think we're going to roll lower, at your entry, That's your stop. And you know I'm going to take that. So 49.50 is what I'm shooting for. 55.50 stop. Okay. And I am short. So I'm just going to put the stop at 56 even. And that is in. Okay. And you can take that as a scalp, right? Or you can try to press back down into this area. So I'm in on the trade. We'll see where it goes. And see how pushing. That area, you had two big buys come off that base. Traders are trapped right at that 62.03. And you literally can use the bottom of those bars plus like 3 ticks. So if you want to get that specific, it's $62.05 to $62.06. And literally, if you're going to try and backside test that, you don't want it 2 ticks above this. So you use a $62.05 against a $62.15. Right? Again, it's got to push up there. So if you took that 48, you got 5 points on NQ. Right? You got to decide how to manage that trade. Okay? And we had one shift up. So this is my last shift up. If I get underneath it, I'm going to try to tag this bar for continuation to the downside. This bar right here specifically, right? Again, I'm trading on oil inventory days. I could get my butt kicked, right? Shift up, followed by a down bar is usually a pretty bad sign. The other thing you do is take the 61.90 against 61.96, right? Or you can wait to see if we test the 62.06. I'm going to wait till we get underneath this bar, and I'm going to attack it right there. But I can use this just the 2 cents behind this bar as my stop. It's better if you wait to get underneath that shift up. And I'm still fine on ES. And I haven't taken any scale on the NQ, but since I've had such a rough time with NQ, let's cover half. You've got essentially 8 points, so let's just take half there. At the market, 41.75. So not even quite 8 points. Okay. I'll leave the rest with the same stop. So see how they're working that anomaly right there? They don't get above that anomaly. And here's the last push down. Bottom of the biggest wave down. Top of the biggest wave down. That's your other resistance point. So a lot of things right above this and good reasons to be looking for a short. I'd want to be underneath that shift and use it as my stop. Just so I have a nice tight stop, I can take multiple shots at it if I need to. And I'm still good on ES. I like to get underneath this bar. Two big sell bars on Delta right there on pushes up. Someone's pressing pretty hard against that. I'd like to get underneath this, and I'm going to explore taking a short position against it. Watching it closely. Again, you still have about 8 points in NQ. I would suggest a scale because my read on, hey, we're going to roll lower has been pretty shitty so far. From an execution standpoint, whether it's news or not, fact remains. And I haven't taken anything off on ES. Five minutes till we get to half hour till top of the hour. Algos will fire in that time frame, right? And then we have London close at 10:30. So I'm hoping CL will set me up into London close. So I have 2 ways to attack it. I can just attack it and go, look, if we don't get above 62.06, I'm good to go, right? So I can do this 93 all the way through 06 and stop 62.10, right? I'm going to wait till we close underneath this shift up, and I'm going to attack it from that standpoint. And I have not touched my ES yet, and we're on the verge of being up 6.25 points on that. So please manage that according to your risk profile. So my entry most likely is going to be half at 61.80, which is where that feels likely to come. The other half at 61.85. Stop whatever that swing high is, plus a tick or two. You're now up at 6 on ES, and I'm looking for the roll down. I've not taken it yet. I think we're going to break that bottom wave. I need a point of control on a down bar behind this, and I'm in. So I'm taking the aggressive fill. My stop's going to go right there at 96 cents. The pain in the ass about that is we could still press the 06.98, right? But I'm willing to risk it on this. We're due a large move, and I'm willing to press for it. I am loaded up on that already in terms of size. And I'm going to put my limit 61.80 to sell. I have a sell stop 61.80, which is 1 penny below where this bar would have to form if it forms. This is subject to change. I'm using the range bar predictor to tell me where that bar is going to form. And I'm shorting the low. Lots of negative things here, right? I'm looking to get underneath this, stop this, and I'm subject to getting chopped. I'm still willing to take it. Now up 6 points on ES. Again, I'm trying to target below, right into this 54 area. Actually, it makes sense right into that 54 to cover the base of that. You'd expect a response, so I'll take half right into this 54. So let's adjust. Half to cover limit 54 to 52. Excuse me, 54 to 53. I'm 54, 53.75, 53.50, 53 quarter, and 53 to cover half that position. And I expect algos over the next few minutes. Damn, I didn't get a single contract off. So still I wait. You can move your stop. See this shift up right here? You can actually move your stop down to 50. Moving my stop to 59 quarter on the whole trade. Okay. Stops moved to 59 quarter, right? Because I'm going to stay behind that shift up. Stops moved to 59 quarter on the whole trade. So there's no risk left on the trade anymore. 59 quarter finishes it, and we'll lock in approximately 2 points. Okay. So now I'm on free ride with no scale, right? I attempted the scale, no fill. I'm still at that 54 and 50 to 53. Damn, they lifted right in front of me, dirty bastards that they are. I'm still at 61.80. Stop 61.96. Looks like I'm about to get hit on that. Remember, 61.52 to 37, I expect a response. I will be covering 61.54, like half of it at least. I've got 61.80. Stop, 61.96. May the force be with me. I will add on the backside test. We'll add on the backside test of this bar right here. I'm limiting 2 pennies in front of that. So 85, I'm adding 61.83, and that's already up on the boards. All right, that's the other entry on this trade. Well, you know what, since I already have half the position on, let's just do it right at 84. I'm now on 84 to add. 96 remains the stop. I'm still at 54 to 53 on this ES. Hopefully I can get a little push down here. We're pushing to 55. You need to cover it or take some off. Be my guest. You're now nicely up on the trade. Come on. Be done with it. Really? Target below is 61.54, and I'm already limit to buy there. Half the position. Then I'll look through it, but I expect a response out of that location, so I'm going to be pretty willing to cover in that area in general. And I still need about 2 points of push down on ES to get this trade taken care of. If you don't feel like pushing it with me and you're happy with 55, it's a good trade, right? Be my guest. Hoping for this 84 fill. There's about another 100 contracts on there. Partial on the 84. I need another hit. 84 done. Stop 96. Average 82. Okay, so it's a 14-cent stop for me. And fractal speed bar into divergence. Wow, that is not what I wanted to see. I may take a stop on that, guys. That is divergence now. See how it pushed down after the cross? So let's see what happens. Stops in the same place. All right, so now I'm just breath holding at this point. Let me look at the profile on that. That should get tested. We're re-auctioning this. This should get tested. And then if we get behind that, see ya. There's nothing till 60.80, but we'll see. Market can be a cruel place. Meaning I missed my 61.25 and my next trade stops, right? I can be a pain in the ass. That's part of the risk of trading on inventory day. Close on the 54. No fill. Really? Speed bar fractal shift up. Come on. 54 and 53.75 got filled. I still have 53.50 filled. I need quarter and 53 still. $8 points. Not bad. Anyone else get that ES trade? Would y'all think I'd lost my mind this morning? Got almost all of that done, guys. I'm still shy a few contracts, but I got most of my risk off. Oh, I need to adjust my stop size. Stop on balance is still 59.25, and I may be getting stopped on this CL. Damn, that sucks. I really thought we had that white zone. They may be coming up to test the 62.08, but no stop yet. I'm willing to take that trade twice. That's it. Again, I'm trading on oil inventories. The risk is higher. I need that diff to flip negative. We would like a flush in the London close, not a flush up. So notice how I'm trading this a little bit differently. I don't think we'll reverse up. Otherwise, I'd be going long against this bar right here. So that was my last shift down. We got the point of control above. I'd be using that bar to flip long, right? But instead, what I think this is a consolidation for continuation lower. So I'm playing it from that perspective instead, right? And that's why we're getting all that shift up, shift down right in the same places. Everyone's trying to figure it out along with me, right? So then you have a trading decision to make. Which one is it going to be? And it may be both. They may push it up to 62.08 and roll it down from there. And I'm aware of that I'm shorting in the hole, and I'm willing to take that risk. Of course, the ES trades made it a lot easier to take that risk, right? But I'm willing to take that risk. So I almost got half the trade off. I still have a little bit more. I'm probably close to 60% of the trade still on, with a net stop of 59.25. So it's going to be a great trade for me either way, no matter how it works out. And if I can get this CL to pop, I'll be a very happy man. Working hard, aren't they? The only risk here is everyone thinks we break down into London close, and everyone has to cover, including me, and it'll be a slaughter. They'll push it up and then roll it afterwards. So, not sure. I'm not going to, as you know, I'll take my stop or I'll take my win, one of the two, just like I did with ES. NQ underneath that 74.33 base it built from the open. Stop on that really sucked. I'm going to have to thank Munchkin or whatever his little name is later for that, because he kind of kicked me in the nuts there. Again, if the London close blast on volume or on whatever it is, short squeeze up in the London close would blow you away on this trade, right? You took all the aggressive trades and you're having a bad day. We're pushing into the hardest time on CL. It can easily tag that 96 cents. I'm not delusional about that, right? I'm not saying from the top of the mountain going, I'm going to kill him. Right? I'm going, what I am doing is saying I've got a good setup there. This is my thesis, and I'm willing to bet money that I'm correct on my thesis, or they'll take me at 96 cents, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is if you would get upset by that, you should get out of the trade, because I'm pushing into the hardest time of the day. And literally, it could go into that 50 cents. So I'm already limit to cover, right? But it could go to 55 cents and slingshot to 96 cents within a minute. It's done it before. It wouldn't be the first time. Okay? And if we close underneath that shift down, you really want to move your stop down to 90 cents, by the way. And I will do that if I can get it closed underneath that purple bar. You actually just don't want a point of control above, but I can promise you by the time you get the point of control above, it'll be above that purple bar that just formed. That usually, when that works best, you get that purple bar and it's bye-bye time. So off